Okay, got excited. Almost opened this up without videoing it. Mail call. All right. So I ordered this in. It's a heads-up display speedometer, but it's OBD2, so it tells you a bunch of stuff. So let me open these boxes, and we'll get a look at it. Alrighty. So first off, we have the unit. I like that. Yeah, it's not really period correct, but that's okay. Remember, this car is a little more than half Honda. So my plan was to put it there, but I may end up putting it there. It does clutter up the dash a bit. I don't know what the hell that is, but I don't like it. Huh. I think some bug left it there. Yeah, and with that cord on the back, it's got a photo cell, so it's going to need to be exposed to light. I don't think there's enough room for me to have it corded and there. Not to mention, I really don't want it there. And again, this does clutter it up, but I think that's about the only place for it where it's not going to have any issues. And then we got to figure out how to route the cable. Well, at the very least, I'm going to plug it in right here in front of the post office and see if it is compatible with Honda language, because I wanted to buy this gas mileage meter from Autometer, and it would have been awesome, except that it said, some of the comments said it wasn't compatible with Honda. So we'll see if this one is. This was only 25 bucks, so if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's not the end of the world, but we'll see. All right, I plugged it in, it beeped, it says OBD2 connecting. I haven't turned on the key yet. Let's start her up. Well, at least it's showing miles per hour. That was the main reason I wanted it. Oh man. Looking at the destructions here, they actually show a wood grain model. That's kind of cool. It wouldn't really fit this motif here. Okay, it does have several functions. Let's see, OBD2 functions. Read data trouble codes. That's nice. So I don't think I have any. Yeah, I don't have any. Okay. So we'll go ahead and exit. Really see that, can you? There, that's better. Dirt all over the screen. Okay, let's see. So we're not going to worry about an alarm yet. Distance over speed alarm, temperature alarm, RPM alarm. Okay. Set this for 70 since the speed limit out here is 65, and the cops are very, very diligent about that. I'm going to set this for 240. RPM. So, yeah, that's fine. test that, and we're going to see how well that works. They got road construction, and so they've got pilot cars and the road closed and blah, 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 blah. So I have to kind of go around that. Okay, so just on a little short drive home, speedometer's off by about 3.5 miles an hour. It reads about 3.5 miles an hour too fast. So whatever, I can live with it. That'll keep me from getting tickets. So routing this wire is going to be a bit of a chore. You know, these all have sharp edges, and so they can cut it. And I don't really want to ruin things by chopping up paint that's been freshly done. So I'll get that figured out. I don't need to do it today. And it came with some kind of a sticky pad, so I'm going to use that for now. And just set it there. Hopefully it powers down when I shut the key off and doesn't run my battery down. This is a problem. Nothing I can do about it right now, though. Alrighty, I did it again. Got a steering wheel off of a Pilot. I think it might be bigger than a Civic steering wheel. I don't know. Frankly, it doesn't matter. Got that. Chopped the center out of it. All so I can get this hub. And this is what I did before with the Civic steering wheel. And then weld this to another steering wheel. So my goal is to weld it to the Rambler steering wheel here. It's going to need some repair work, obviously. This is off the 61. I didn't have a steering wheel for the 62. And I do have these pieces that are missing, which is fine because they kind of need to be missing for me to do all this. But the idea here is to... I need to take it apart and see what needs to be taken off. If I can just cut it along the bottom of this wire and weld it right to this, that'd be fine. See if there's a chunk of the column still in there. If not, then I'll have to cut it flush and weld that to it. It's got quite a dish, so I have to make sure it's not stuck in my belly when I'm done. Wow, that's a lot bigger. I don't know. That may not work. You can see it's in my belly. I plan on moving this seat back a couple inches anyway, but yeah. I don't know. I need to get it taken apart. The hub may end up being about 2 inches further forward, but that is a big, big diameter change. The Pilot steering wheel sat out about here, and it drove a lot nicer, frankly. So it might even be nicer still with this one, but oh no. Turning my hands black. Alrighty, I gotta get to work. Okay, lunchtime arts and crafts. I got this whipped up. So this is my Bluetooth amplifier. The knobs are at home, unfortunately, but now this cord was really long because originally I had it mounted over here. I was gonna plug up these holes, but the wiper motor ended up going there, so we're gonna use my little phone pocket here and put it in. And of course, cruise control switch goes there. All right, we may have to abandon the steering wheel project temporarily because the Rambler steering wheel was just falling apart, crumbling as I was working on it. It doesn't have to be a Rambler steering wheel. It can be almost anything. I just want something vintage looking and bigger than this. 13-inch doesn't cut it. It needs to be at least 15 inches, maybe 17 inches tops, which I think the Rambler steering wheel is bigger than that. And this, I don't think I'm too happy with this. One, it being inaccurate is a problem. Two, I think I'm going to use the same unit that I had in my golf cart. That one will kind of match this pod a little bit. I may do a little painting to it, and I can put it right here. And that was GPS rather than OBD too. All right, I'm going to toss this thing in real quick. Okay, so everything's plugged back in. It's going to sit roughly like this-ish. hand in the way. You don't really need to see it very well. This is my eyeballs. I've got these cut out that are going to become panels, and then I can screw it or tack weld it to here, which is welded to the dash, and then I can put screws in to the sides here where these snaps were, and that will hold it in position, I think, just like that. Yeah, all right, but that'll have to happen on my next days off, so we're gonna call this project done for now. Okay, we're back at it, and right now I'm working on the inner splash shields for the quarter panels. So where a normal car would have had a rounded fender well that looked like this, this car, at least the original Rambler, had the inner fender wells and there was nothing connecting it to the outer skin. It just had this piece of tin here and this piece of tin here, which I'll show you. See, there's that piece of tin and there's nothing up there. That's all Rambler. That's all OE Rambler. There used to be a rubber seal, which is gone. And then up inside of there is the other piece of tin that went up. Up. See? Like I said, that foam is temporary. And so basically what I'm doing is like what normal cars would have on the front fenders, is just that little splash shield. Making it out of this stuff for now. I should have a pretty good pattern, that way I can take it back off. It's going to be screwed in for now, that way I can drive it the winter and the next spring, pull it off, cut it out of real metal, and probably rivet it in. I don't really want to weld it, but I might weld it, who knows. I might have to weld it. But, so right now that's what we're working on. This one here is mostly ready to go for this side. This end here still needs to be figured out, you know, how far I need to go with it. What I don't want to do is drill any holes here and put a rivet or a screw through there, because that'll just look like hell and it'll give it one more spot to leak. And so this side, you can see I've got that kind of all trimmed out. And there's some trimming I still need to do up inside. I had to cut off some of the Honda metal that was still there. You know, this is the fender well, and this was the part that went to the C-pillar, D-pillar, whatever, but that needed to come off. I think there's a lot more of that though on that side, so I'm going to go ahead and trace out that pattern, get it cut out, and then get this one in, and then take that one and start on it. All right, I'm going to call this side pretty well done. I threw some etch primer down and a little black paint just to kind of hide stuff. One thing I did notice, when I welded all this together, you know, it melted some of the undercoating and burned through it, but this thing hasn't really been exposed to water up until very recently. It's been in the carport, dirt floor, but there's, you can see, significant pitting there from rust. And I'm not really sure how it rusted so bad. I don't know. It just, I noticed the cricket wagon. There was a couple of my welds that looked like that. They're rusted pretty good, so I don't know. The whole idea, this is a splash shield. It's not really an inner fender as much as it's just to keep water from splashing into places where I don't want it. And there's nothing really holding the bottom here. I could make something, but again, I don't want to drill holes here. So I could weld a little bracket out there maybe, but right now I'm just going to leave it. It's fine. It won't go anywhere. It's just, you know, if I have to trim it, I can cut it up there further, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to go get started on the other side. See, this is what I'm talking about. That is a significant amount of rust for something that hasn't been driven, not parked on the grass. I don't know if it's just that humid in there. I don't know. Oh well. All right. So here we are. I did have to put a screw through. I'll come up with something different. This is all temporary anyway. When I cut the quarters off, I'll redo it with real metal. But for now, this is what it's going to be. It'll be welded into. Yeah, there's a couple missed screw holes that need to be filled, but that's no big deal. Hopefully it won't be too noisy. God, I hope it won't be too noisy. But yeah, that project's done. I throw the wheel back on and move on to the next thing. Okay, I got the hole cut. I'm not going to say drilled, cut. And I was able to use the Honda boot here. I just have the oval dealios wedged in there. I need to find the plug. It fell out. I had to be careful about where to put it. That's about the only place to put it because there's a gusset back here on both of them. So that's the only place I could put it where it was flat enough to get it. And I went ahead and swapped this over to the 2-switch. I really wanted to unpin the connector and repin it like I did on the CRV HVAC controls, but all the pins were different, all the connectors different. So I had to cut it and splice it, but it works. I'm thinking I'm going to put it up here. I was going to put it in the center console, but I'm going to put it in here. Just cut the pull out a little bit, or maybe even here. Trim the hole a little bit. Either or. But that's that. I'll tape that up soon. Speakers. I think I'm going to go ahead tomorrow and deal with the speaker hole. This, I'm going to try to tuck the wires up into the top of the dash. I need to squeeze them past the wiper motor. There. And get this connector up here in the corner. You know, it's going to have a panel that's going to cover this up anyway, but you know, those things are sticking out pretty good. Of course, that speaker bracket's in the way. That's coming off anyhow, but you know, you have this panel up there, you won't be able to see them. But anyway, all right, I'm going to pack up. That's it for tonight. Tomorrow's another day. Okay, it's payday, so this thing's getting washed. This is legitimately probably the first time it's actually been washed in 20 plus, 30 plus years. I'm sure. I love the patina. But we're going to get off all this tree mold and this oil running down here and get the wheels and tires cleaned up a little bit. So as you see that green coming out of there, that's degreaser. I'm going to get up inside there and try to clean the engine compartment cross members and stuff up. You can see all that tree mold coming down there. All right, time to get busy. All righty, well, there it is, clean. Doesn't look a whole lot different. Some of the staining's gone. Tires look cleaner at least. I did get a whole lot more water inside the car than I really wanted to, but I got all the silt cleaned out of the inside of the door. It's kind of too late though because the rust is already there. But yeah, there's some water in here. So I did find one little tiny leak in the windshield, and I didn't find anything in the back. Yeah, it's dry back there, so. Yep, okay. I am gonna head home. Okay, so I went down to work to grab the ball joint press and Honda adapter, which I ordered the Honda adapter, it got sent back. I forgot to reorder it, called my coworker, he forgot to reorder it. Finally got it. So I went down to go get it. Well, somebody's rented out the damn press, so I'm not going to get the ball joints done today. I did get a bunch of stuff done yesterday. I had a doctor's appointment, so I got about half a day's work in. But I didn't record any of it, so let me show you what I got done. So I got whole cut, wires routed, just like I did the driver's side. I went ahead and did a little trimming here. And these are the speakers that were in the Honda, some JBL. I don't know if they're good quality or what. They sound good. Went ahead and got those put in, hooked up, switch. I need to come up with, basically I need to cut out a piece and cut out the whole, I'm looking out for these ants. They are like hell when they sting you. I need to cut out a hole basically and attach this and then be able to attach it to the door. So there's your window switch. I need to re-grease that. At the car wash, I went ahead and washed out all that silt that was down in there. I did find one thing out that was bad when I was working on this door. Kind of hard to see, but if you look right there, you see distinct slide hammer holes and Bondo. So as I suspected, this door was hyper extended. And even though you don't see any damage in here at all, it was. So that's where you got this thing was brazed. That's why you've got so much damage in there, and the door doesn't fit right. The door itself is probably screwed up. And here at the car wash, I did expose the primer, and this is all filler through here. You can see the cracking starting in, and even all the way up to here. It's all filler. And there's some filler here in the fender. So the fender's not a write-off. The door, I've got other doors. So let's go look at the 61 passenger door. All right, so the good news is it's intact. It's got all the glass in it and stuff. It does have this other type of channel run. That could be a problem. At a glance, I don't really see anything wrong with it. There's the original paint. So, no filler. Okay, it was the driver door that had a little filler in it. So, I mean, obviously I'd have to go through and remodify the door. You know, get the, look at this rubber is actually somewhat pliable compared to what was on the other one. Get the, yeah, you see there's no rust down there, which is not going to last if I leave it down here in the dirt. And these are probably brown recluse spiders, so I gotta be careful to get rid of all that and redo everything to make the power windows work. And as I pointed out before, 61 had the square shaft. I don't know if I have any of the knobs, which isn't the end of the world. Okay. Anybody need a back window for a Valiant? A road towed Valiant? What was I looking for? I don't remember. Anyway. Yep. So when the time comes to change the quarter pounds, at that point it'll no longer be, the paint will no longer be intact, and I'll have to do something. So I will probably swap the door at that time. So that fender could be used, but it really isn't any good. That one isn't so bad. It could be used, fixed. All right. I mean, just look at that. That is awesome. I went ahead and got that mounted. Put those two speakers back there. They're not hooked up yet. I'm going to have to come up with something there, and I'll put everything back together. But I'm really disappointed in that light. It is very dim, so it's not really going to be doing any good except maybe at night. I don't know. Got some little bit of seam sealing done just there, because I still need to grind all these welds before I can think about seam sealing them. Went ahead and got those grommets. Those are actually Honda, left over from the Honda, and I just cut a slit in them. They fit the hole. These ones I think are actually Rambler. I'm missing one. I've got it somewhere, but I gotta find it. I'm trying to seal everything off so it'll quit smelling like an exhaust inside. All right. Okay, so I'm going to work on the hood a bit. So I need to do some measuring. Since I'm using the Cricut hinges, I need to basically measure the Cricut and figure out exactly where the hinges are located in relationship to the car, and then try to replicate that on this. Where that one is right now works, barely. So where that's located, when you raise the hood and you get the hood up kind of where you want it, about as high as you want it, the corner's hitting in the back corner right there. So I'm worried that if anything were to ever happen of fleeing up, it would bend the crap out of the hood, or if somebody pushed it too hard, it would bend the crap out of the hood. So I need to move that back about an inch, I think, maybe, or up. I don't know. So I need to do the measurement to figure that out. Of course, I got to clean up all that booger and then replicate it on that side. Ooh, I did find that cover. My people will stop asking me what that engine is. Okay, I'm almost there. I got the Cricut mounts tacked up. We're not going to talk about that. That'll get taken care of. I've got the nut zerts put in. Hinges are bolted on, so I just have to come up with the other 2 bolts, and then we're going to test fit the hood. If everything gets where it needs to be, then I'm going to finish welding the mounts. All right. Well, I think it worked out okay. It might need some minor adjustments still. Yeah, see, it's catching back there in the center, but the corners are where they're supposed to be. There's supposed to be a weather strip along the back, which I think is part of what holds it up. And it is obviously missing. So I'll just have to be careful until I can get that done. Next thing I gotta do is figure out what to do about a latch. I've got a thought. I'd have to strengthen this up, obviously, but bolting the latch to this and then putting the catch up here off to the side like a more modern car has. I've got the seat ones I could use, although I don't think they're I don't think you can consider them strong enough. You have to excuse me, I'm exhausted. So for right now, I'm just going to put a ratchet strap over it. It's going to look like crap, but I need a hood. I don't know when we're expecting bad weather, but you can see the washing up got rid of most of the rust stain, which frankly I think is one of the best parts of patina, but oh well. Maybe the mileage will go up. I did my first mileage test today when I filled up. I was on fumes and I got about 24, which is not great, but it's the best out of all the vehicles I own. So that pig right there gets 16. That'll be going up for sale soon. Anyway, that's it for tonight. That's it for this week's video. I got work tomorrow. A couple errands I need to run in the morning, but for the most part, that's it on this. I need to get started on the power window parts there soon. And then the interior parts, but those aren't really important. The ball joints are the big thing right now. Ball joints and front brakes all get done at the same time. Anyway, that's it for the night. Take care. Just stop and take a look at this really quick. It is an amazingly great thing. What is the word? Satisfying. When a project like this comes together and you can enjoy the fruits of your labors